Will he, in the interests of public safety, follow the lead of France, Denmark, Belgium and others and ban the burqa?
And I also did see the segment where Sarah Pochin called for the burqa to be banned in the House of Commons, and she had that, you know, that smug, pretentious look that Douglas Murray often wears. Ignorance really is bliss for these people. They're so full of themselves, yet embarrassingly clueless and uninformed, relying on lazy scare tactics instead of serious arguments.
The debate was actually about non-stun slaughter being banned, but everyone was taking this as an attack on halal slaughter,
obviously, including
those who were behind the petition calling for the debate, and right-wing MPs who attended, like Rupert Lowe. They were obsessively going on about how halal slaughter is so evil and needs to be banned. Bismillah Rahman Rahim, Assalamu Alaikum, and welcome back to another episode of Muslims Uncensored with me, the mighty Anglo-Saxon Muslim convert who you've all come to know and love, and the wet Welshman, Roshan Salih. Many of you may not have known this, but Roshan is basically a Welshman.
Half Welsh.
Half Welsh, so he's half white. Surprisingly, even though he has a go at whites all the time.
Believe you me, I don't brag about
the race beta.
I try and hide that aspect of my being.
Well, there you go. That's us two on here.
But what I say is that I might be half white on the outside, but I'm fully brown on the inside.
I can't. So you're the opposite.
Whereas you, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure how to describe you, but anyway.
I don't think anyone quite...
White on the outside, white on the inside.
No one's quite figured me out yet. No one can sort of pinpoint me, which I'm quite pleased about. But we have a lot to discuss today. Very quickly, obviously, it has been Eid. So Eid Mubarak to everyone watching. It's a little bit of a late Eid message.
Yes,
but
Eid Mubarak, brothers and sisters.
How was your Eid, Roshan?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, usual. Family and, kind of... work as well, because it never stops. But, alhamdulillah, I do have I was the only one working on Eid. Robert was on a holiday again. And I did have the pleasure of posting photos from around the globe of Muslims celebrating Eid in all these far-flung places, as well as the obvious Muslim-majority countries like Pakistan and Egypt and etc., etc., but also these weird places, like not weird places, but like Togo and Iceland and all these places that you wouldn't expect. I mean, the Ummah is alive on Eid, and it's so joyful to see. Even for a grumpy old man like me, it was quite joyful just to post those pictures, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there is a lot to discuss today, and I want to dive straight on into the first topic because it's an important one, and also we've got a voice to platform here on Five Pillars I'm quite pleased about. It's basically the burqa ban row, if you like, that's sprung up again in the UK. This is something which has been debated previously. Should the burqa be banned? Are face veils barbaric? Are they backwards? Are they incompatible with British or Western values? And it was all sparked by a new MP for the Reform UK party, which is a right-wing party which is hostile to...
He's not Reform UK anymore. Rupert Lowe, you're talking about?
We're talking about Sarah Pochin.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sarah Pochin, who I will bring on screen now. She is a brand new Reform UK MP. Rupert Lowe is another voice who is obsessively going after Muslims. But this burqa ban row, the latest round, was sparked by Sarah Pochin. Let's see what she said. This was her debut speech to Parliament, where she basically brought up the burqa randomly, asking the Prime Minister if he'd be willing to ban it.
Given the Prime Minister's desire to strengthen strategic alignment with our European neighbours, will he, in the interests of public safety, follow the lead of France, Denmark, Belgium and others and ban the burqa?
Prime Minister.
So that was the initial question in Parliament, which sparked the whole row off. She actually went back on the TV and was challenged over her views, and she was left a bit red-faced after she clarified that she basically thinks that people who wear burqas or niqabs are not allowed to talk to anyone. That's why she hasn't spoken to anyone wearing it.
How many women have you spoken to about wearing the burqa? Do you speak to women about this? And there's not very many of them, according to...
I'll tell you what, though, I campaigned... No, I
speak to women wearing burqa all the time.
I campaigned hard in Bolton South East years ago, 10 years ago. And when I say you can't, if a woman has got a burqa on and and they're in the streets, you cannot talk to them. They won't talk to you because they're not allowed to talk to you. That's not so.
Final word on that is totally untrue. And actually, when Kemi says she wouldn't speak to somebody wearing a burqa in a surgery, women can take off their burqa in front of another woman, and that has happened with me. And I just think that when we talk about this, we need to talk about this responsibly, because I don't want to see the repeat of what happened in summer. Maybe you do. Can I just show...
Rolling her eyes
There's a law in this country, according to Sarah Pochin, where niqabis cannot speak to other people. That's effectively what she's saying.
That's what she said. Now, obviously, we're both very opinionated on this, Roshan, but what I want to do is bring on a view which doesn't get platformed enough, I think, which is a Muslim sister who is known for wearing it. So let me introduce the sister first of all. This is Sister Meria, who is known online as the Muslim Mum. She's got quite a profile online on YouTube and on Twitter and elsewhere. She is a qualified psychologist and a prominent female Muslim voice on social media. She addresses topics such as geopolitics, marriage, parenting from a Muslim perspective, and the social issues affecting Muslim women and Western Muslims. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. So just give me your reaction to the news. Obviously, the burqa or the niqab, it's back in the news agenda. It's coming under attack. People, including politicians, are now calling for it to be banned or for women to be forced to take it off if they want to engage with, politicians even, like Kemi Badenoch said recently. What's your reaction to it all?
I mean, first, I can't help but laugh. I know that sounds awful, but it just is a bit hilarious. I mean, I saw the BBC segment featuring Sarah Pochin where she openly admitted, she's never spoken directly to a woman who wears a niqab or burqa. That admission alone, highlights the shallow foundation of her views, her lack of understanding, both from a religious perspective and through any meaningful personal interaction. It completely undermines the credibility of her claims. So it's hard to see them as anything more than an uninformed opinion shaped by blind prejudice. She also ridiculously claimed it was a security issue by suggesting that men could potentially dress in burqas to commit crimes. Again, laughable. That's a poorly thought out attempt to defend a flawed argument. If you look at the stats on how many people wearing burqas in the UK have actually committed crimes, the number is next to nothing. Considering only around 3,000 Muslim women in the UK wear a face covering out of roughly 4 million Muslims in the UK. So in fact, the real security concern is alarming is the rise in crimes targeting visibly Muslim women, especially those who wear a head and wear a face covering. Again, statistics, if you want to look at the statistics show that 365%, there's a 356% rise in Islamophobic hate incidents across the UK, which is directly linked to anti-Muslim Israeli propaganda since October 2023. So that's what we should be addressing, not burqa bans. And I also did see the segment where Sarah Pochin called for the burqa to be banned in the House of Commons, and she had that, that smug, pretentious look that Douglas Murray often wears. Ignorance really is bliss for these people. They're so full of themselves, yet embarrassingly clueless and uninformed, relying on lazy scare tactics instead of serious arguments. Another person...
Sorry to jump in. No, I just wanted to basically confront this point, because I have to be honest, hanging around English people like I do, growing up in those circles, it is very widespread, the belief that Muslim women who wear it only wear it because some man told them to, and that basically they're oppressed and they don't have a choice in the matter, for example. Can you just clarify, is that like a real issue? Are you forced to wear it? Are you okay? Do you need like someone to come and rescue you from the brown native man that you're forced to live with?
I've never come across a woman who wears a niqab or the burqa. Happily, I would like to say that has been oppressed into wearing it. I've never come across that. I do know it does exist. There's oppression in every form, right? There's oppression in every form. Even the British white woman might be oppressed in certain ways to do certain things that she doesn't want to do. I have Pakistani roots, so I personally follow the Hanbali school of thought, and I can tell you the majority of Pakistani women don't wear the niqab, even in Pakistan, let alone in the UK. But the ones that do, they do so unapologetically because that's their right and that's their choice. I've heard people say the face covering is cultural, and respectfully, I don't agree. From my understanding, from the Hanbali fiqh, it is wajib in situations that may cause fitna. That means it's mandatory in situations where men and women may fall into sin. And this is backed up by many prominent scholars who have said that under these circumstances, a face covering is obligatory, and I agree. And like I will say, you know, if you're around non-mahram men, meaning men that are not close relatives to you, I feel like then it's necessary for Muslim women to wear niqab. Again, that's my choice. In chapter 33 of the Quran, in Surah Al-Azab, in verse 53, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the wives of the Prophet, peace be upon him, to communicate with his companions from behind a barrier, stating that this is purer for your hearts and their hearts. And again in the same surah in verse 59, he commands the Prophet, peace be upon him, to tell his wives and daughters and all believing Muslim women to cover themselves with their garments so they're not recognized and thus protected from harassment from all men, not just Muslim men. So if you take both these ayahs, I interpret that as the niqab being mandatory. Some women don't, and there are scholars who offer opinions to back up that position also. And honestly, I don't judge sisters who choose to only wear the hijab, but I will add that many of the scholars who say niqab is often not compulsory, they also say it's recommended. So for me, it's to be better on the safe side. There are so many examples where niqab is compulsory in hadiths, and that's why I wear it, because there's a reason for it. There's a religious dedication to it. The bottom line is we have a choice. Every Muslim woman has a choice. I choose niqab, other women choose hijab, and some Muslim women choose neither, and that's okay. To take that right away is not democracy, it's complete hypocrisy and blatant religious discrimination.
I mean, can I just jump in? I'm glad you actually addressed that point, Sister Maria, because I consulted a few scholars before coming on this show, and they told me, because there's this perception, even amongst Muslims, that the niqab is a bit extreme. Whereas, in fact, it's actually, in terms of Islamic scholarship and the four Sunni schools of thought, it's actually very mainstream and the preferred position. Not a fringe position, but the preferred position. So I think it's good that you made that point. I would take issue with you. I don't want to argue with you, but I would take issue with you on what you said right at the end. And you said, for a Muslim woman not to wear the niqab or the hijab is okay. I think obviously we live in a non-Muslim society here, so in terms of the law, it's absolutely okay. But in terms of Islam, actually, if you don't, you're sinful, right? That's the reality. And obviously, we're a Muslim channel. We're here to promote Islam. So I think it's important to say that if a Muslim woman does not wear the hijab, under most conditions, they are actually being sinful. Would you agree with that?
No, yeah, I definitely agree. And maybe I've worded that wrong, but I agree. What I mean is, it's everybody's right to make their own decision. That's between them and God, right? Yeah. As like you said, I promote a Muslim channel. You guys are a Muslim channel. 100%. We want people to follow the Islamic school of thoughts, or just Islam, where hijab is definitely compulsory, and niqab for me is compulsory. That is, again, depending on schools of thought, but we should be covering up as Muslim women, and there's reasons for that, and we don't need to get into that, but we know the reasons for that, and that is definitely something we should promote. I think taking someone's right away, because we have many revert sisters that come into Islam, don't wear the hijab straight away, then you have a lot of people that sort of put that pressure on them, and I don't think putting pressure on someone is the way to go. Yeah. I think it's between you and God. But yes, wearing hijab, wearing niqab is definitely something that we should be doing as Muslim women to protect ourselves. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us that right.
Sister, can I ask you one more question? How is your experience every day in everyday life? I think you're living there in Scotland, right? So I assume that not many people wear the niqab in Scotland. How's your experience of just going out? Have you suffered abuse, or are people accepting? What's your experience?
I have lived here my whole life. I have worn the niqab here for a while now. I have never, alhamdulillah, received any racism, any Islamophobic comments, any Islamophobia. I've only ever received kindness. I take my children to non-Muslim classes. I take my children to Muslim classes, and I never receive any Islamophobia. I'm not to say that that's not present. Like we said, there is a higher rate of it happening now, but I don't receive that. And I'm quite a. I mean, if you've seen my channel, I'm not shy when it comes to talking. I can talk freely and I talk openly, and I can talk to whoever I please, within reason, of course. So I don't receive any of that. I don't receive any hatred, and I think it's quite sad for people to assume that. I can understand when I didn't wear the niqab, it can be quite frightening to meet someone that is fully covered. I can understand that, but if I'm present around only women, I can take it off.
Yeah.
If I'm present with my family members that are male, I can take it off. So it's only around non-mahram men that I wear it.
Okay, thank you, sister.
Thank you. Yes, Sister Miria, the Muslim mum, someone who I have spoken to before. I'm a big fan of your channel. I do recommend highly anyone who hasn't already to head to YouTube. I know you're also big on Twitter. Is there any other social media platforms to check you out on?
Yes, I'm everywhere. Instagram, TikTok. Come and say hello.
Brilliant. Yeah, so please do tune in, subscribe, and like the channel. Thank you very much, sister. And if there is any more topics of this nature to come, I'm sure attacks will continue. We know where to go for an outspoken voice. They do exist. Women in the niqab. They can talk. They are allowed to talk. And they can talk. So thank you very much, sister. Pleasure to see you, and take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Alaikum assalam.
It's interesting how Sister Maria there said that she hadn't received much Islamophobia. I thought she was going to say she had. But I think that might be a difference between Scotland and England. Scotland, definitely people are a bit more tolerant, I think. Although there is racism in Scotland, definitely. But I think if her experience in England, in some English cities, would have been different.
Yeah, definitely. I think she's lucky that she lives in quite a nice area then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, England, isn't it? Oh, well, she's in Scotland. Britain's quite a funny place. You do get some very nice English bits.
Well, Wales, Scotland.
I've never...
People accuse me of being kind of anti-British and whatever, but actually it's more anti-English because Wales is a beautiful country. Only had good experiences in Wales, Scotland as well. I'd move there if I possibly could, although the weather's a bit rubbish. But there's something about England, maybe the south of England in particular, which is a bit nasty. Yeah,
possibly. I just think that anywhere where ignorance is allowed to thrive, and there's a lot of ignorance here, you tend to find Islamophobia as well.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about the other attacks on Islam, like the halal slaughter debate.
Yeah, let's go for it.
But before we do, I just, one thing that's been bugging me, which I wanted to address on the show, while we're talking about the burqa thing, I do think that there is a lack of strong Muslim voices defending the burqa or the niqab.
Completely absent.
Yeah, really absent. I mean, I actually watched, I won't go into namesake because it might cause a beef, and I know Five Pillars doesn't like to do intimacy.
No, we don't do beefs, do we? We've never had a beef in our existence with anybody.
Well, we don't actively look for beefs with Muslims on things like this, but I have to say that it was an abysmal performance. It was so frustrating to watch. I mean,
I don't know who you're talking about, by the way. I'll ask you after the show.
After the show, I'll tell you. But they actually had... Basically, their argument was they deflected a lot, wouldn't answer any of the main core questions, and the presenter was quite aggressive, saying, yeah, it's basically backwards, barbaric and medieval, we don't want it here. What's your response? And he was basically suggesting, oh, it's not part of Islam really, it's some Afghan cultural thing.
Yes, yes.
And that it's not even in the Sunnah. And I was like...
It's a mainstream part of Islam,
I won't reveal any more because people will figure out who it is, but I couldn't believe it. And this is someone of some position in the community whose job in this situation was to go on and defend Islam.
Yeah.
And I mean, surely niqabis are the most attacked, most demonized out of all of.
I think we struggle a little bit because obviously
it's outrageous.
We put a call out on social media to find a niqabi who would speak, and we wouldn't have done that because normally we people help us because we champion Islam and Muslims, and we find people helping us from very unexpected quarters. But we struggled a little bit to find a niqabi. It took us a day or two, or even more to do that. And I think that's because there's not many of them, and also they're a bit shy about speaking out. They naturally have this modesty about them. and they're sick and tired of defending themselves, being attacked constantly. I mean, literally, this is like one of the most demonized minorities in this country who've never done anything. When was the last time you heard of a niqabi even committing a crime? They've literally never done anything apart from just get on with their lives. Yeah, they're being constantly demonized and threatened with bans and all sorts. I mean, it's just pure Islamophobia. It's just nasty people doing this.
And I think
and easy targets, quite frankly, as well.
I think what frustrated me the most is just how in this debate a Muslim was basically dodging a chance to defend them because he didn't agree with it or something.
Niqabi women are completely absent from this debate. When we've looked at all the social media bashing over the last week or so, and hardly one. I've not seen one niqabi up there defending. It's either a man defending a niqabi woman, or a woman that doesn't wear hijab, or just wears hijab but doesn't wear niqab defending it. Where are all the niqabi women? Because I don't know, their voices are completely absent from this debate.
Yeah, and basically what I want to say is, if you are a Muslim, it doesn't really matter if you're a man or a woman. I think if you're going to defend Islam, you could defend Islam, right? But make sure you do a good job. If you're not up for it, or you're going to weasel about, or use wet sponge arguments, or try to find common ground with non-Muslims just to like fit in with your little liberal crowd, don't bother. Just stay home, be quiet, have your views, do what you want. But people, when they're invited onto the news, because Muslims like you and me, the unapologetic hard ones that will go in a bit hard.
Extremists.
Yeah, basically, yeah. We don't get these invites, and we know why. There's clearly a conspiracy. We've been blacklisted. They don't want.
They know we'll wipe the floor with them.
They know we'll wipe the floor with them, and we'll say things that they don't want to put out there to the public, because who knows? Like, people might be convinced by our argument, and we're not going to weasel around. We're not going to kick around the bush. And the fact is, the ones that do go on the mainstream media that still get those invites, if you're not going to go hard, just stay home. Okay, we don't have time for it. We're under attack. Palestine's being genocided. Muslims are being attacked like right and center, and now they're going after the niqab. We don't have time for it. Either go hard or stay home and be quiet.
I think last thing I'll say on this is, one thing I've noticed is when kind of Muslims go on mainstream media, they're very defensive, aren't they, on the back foot?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's
apologetic as well.
I don't
very
think,
apologetic.
and foremost in their minds is, how can we say something that they are going to like hearing? Now, I don't think that's the approach to dawah that we should, as Muslims, we should be giving. Our approach to dawah should be that we clearly present what Islam is, to Muslims and to non-Muslims. Obviously with wisdom and good words and eloquence, but we clearly state what Islam is. And ultimately, it's take it or leave it. And we shouldn't be thinking, how can I word this in such a way? How can I water down Islam so much that they might be interested in what I'm saying or accept what I'm saying? No, it's like, this is Islam. Inshallah, you will like it. It'll be a blessing for you if you do like it. If you don't like it, then you're going to burn in hell.
It's definitely your loss. But yeah, that my attitude is, it's your loss. Either accept Islam or get lost. I don't care about you. It's your loss. Islam's beautiful and perfect and brilliant
and growing fast, as we see. We're going to talk about it.
Before we do,
we're going to dominate.
We're taking over. But before we talk about the successes, while we're talking about successes, I thought this was a win for Islam and for Muslims. The debate in Parliament on halal slaughter ban. So the debate was actually about non-stun slaughter being banned, but everyone was taking this as an attack on halal slaughter,
obviously,
including those who were behind the petition calling for the debate, and right-wing MPs who attended, like Rupert Lowe. They were obsessively going on about how halal slaughter is so evil and needs to be banned. So this was basically a debate on halal slaughter and whether it should be allowed in the UK. And the 4 independent Muslim MPs who you can see on screen there, I have to say they did a pretty stand-up good job.
They did an excellent job. Sterling job.
They did.
Hail the Muslim MPs.
Yeah, exactly. Our pro-Gaza independents have done a good job for halal slaughter.
Do you notice how we've completely ignored the other Muslim MPs who are in that room
Oh, please,
because
don't get me
they
started.
belong to Labour.
Yeah.
And we don't care what Labour politicians have to say, quite frankly.
Frankly, yeah, I don't care. They're the party of genocide. That's what
Yeah.
they're standing with. So I don't want to hear what they have to say.
I don't want
But
to hear what they would say.
Even then, I don't think they defended it as well as the Independents. I have to say the Independents particularly stood out.
They did their homework.
They did their homework.
Should we watch a few clips? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. So we've got our
debate
Independents.
being framed in Parliament today is deeply concerning. Not just me, but to other members, organisations, and many of my constituents. Yes, I care about animal welfare. That's the supposed topic here, but I'm equally disturbed by the undertone. A title dressed as a welfare concern, but sounding like a dog whistle for xenophobia, targeting religious practices, particularly Jewish and Muslim communities. These are long-standing practices, already regulated by clear legislation. Previous governments have ensured safeguards are in place to protect animal welfare during religious slaughter. So why are we having this conversation again, if not to stigmatise kosher and halal traditions? Many may not realise that both halal and kosher slaughter practices are centred around minimising suffering. They require the animal to be alive and healthy at the time of slaughter. Animals must not be shown the implement with which they will be slaughtered. Animals should not be in the presence of other animals being slaughtered. If this is not humane, I don't know what is. A sharp knife is used to make a swift incision, cutting key arteries and windpipe, but not the spinal cord, causing rapid unconsciousness and minimal pain. Evidence shows that when done properly, and the key here is done properly, I'm a proponent of halal and kosher slaughter done in the proper way. When done properly, kosher and halal methods can be as, if not more humane, as stunned slaughter. Yeah. In fact, if we flip the narrative, mistakes in stunning can cause suffering, if not well managed, and expose animals to bad welfare in pre-slaughter handling or cause pain and fear. That this isn't about animal welfare.
Oh, Robert, come on. That's so unprofessional.
Forward, into place,
Turn your phone off, man. I would never do anything like that.
The justification.
Last week, I've got to say, brothers and sisters, last week the fire alarm went off for about 4 minutes here. And I told Robert specifically, keep that in the show. He took it out. He's such a sport, man.
I think it is.
That was the best bit of last week's show.
But anyway.
But I insist, all our mistakes, we leave them in the show. That's the rule from now on.
Yeah, that way you can see how much of your support.
So what do you make of this? I think we both watched the whole debate. What did you make of it?
Yeah, really good. I think that, like you said, they did their homework. They knew what they were talking about. And also they called out the elephant in the room. Racism and Islamophobia at the centre of this debate.
I think the elephant in the room is Rupert Lowe, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, they called out the racism and Islamophobia and the bigotry surrounding this debate. Yeah. The fact is, people who are pushing this clearly have an issue with Islam. And as you've said in the past, they want to make life uncomfortable for Muslims in Britain as possible. And attacking halal slaughters is a good way to do that. Rupert Lowe did issue his speech. He obviously is the former Reform UK MP. He made it all about animal welfare, I think, didn't he? And obviously,
he did say that he wanted kosher to be banned as well. But I mean, he's been quiet about that for a long time. But he kind of couldn't get out of it.
He's tweeting
in that arena.
He's tweeting obsessively about halal and how barbaric it is.
Yeah, he's focusing on halal, not kosher.
He hasn't referred to kosher in the same wording. You know,
only when he's forced to, you'll say.
Yeah.
But all the emphasis is on halal,
just to get out of jail free. But yeah, it's basically. I think it was a win. It was very impressive, and this is what I want to see more of. It's just an unapologetic defence of Muslim practices. Would have been nice if they ended on a tukbir, maybe.
Look, I think credit. Obviously, we've been a little bit critical of, not in a nasty way, but in a place which comes from a good place, you know, because obviously we're all here to we care about the Ummah, we care about Islam. And we have been a little bit critical of the independent Gaza MPs for not making enough impact in Parliament. This is the kind of thing that they need to do. Unapologetic defense of Islamic practices, exposing the agenda, the Islamophobic and racist agenda behind Muslim bashing. And, long may they do more of this kind of stuff, because they do have a platform there in Parliament, which none of us are. Just the fact that they're delivering a speech in Parliament, there's a certain aura about it, isn't it, that gives them, like, credibility. And they just need to do more of that, much more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what one of them was basically saying is that if done properly, halal slaughter is, like, more humane than the non-halal alternatives. Because it's like these people who claim that they're into animal rights and welfare, they like gassing and electrocuting chickens, and it's like a death chamber the way they treat them. Do you know what I mean? So how can you sit there and lecture us as if we're the backwards way when you're like mass murdering chickens in a most inhumane way?
I'm not worried at all about halal slaughter being banned, because I think that if you're going to ban that, you're going to also have to ban kosher slaughter, and no one is going to upset the Zionists, right?
Yeah.
So the Zionists have our back in a weird way on this one. They never have our back, but on this way, weirdly, they somehow do. Although, to be honest, it's not really the Zionists, because I bet Zionists, they don't really, half of them are atheists, right? So they probably don't even eat kosher.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got another story which is pretty big. It's the Greta Thunberg, who's being she's deported by Israel now after attempting to break the immoral siege on Gaza by sea on the Freedom Flotilla. She has now returned to Europe. She was sent back to Paris, I think, and she's done a good job as well, I have to say. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Greta prior to this, but she's called Israel out. She's criticised them, done her best to try and help the Palestinians, but she's come under immense attack. Everyone's angered by what she's been doing, and her fellow activists. And the hate outpouring is pretty intense, and it's not just from Israelis. It's actually from mainstream media.
We're going to
as well.
see some of that in a minute. The only point I'd like to make before maybe you can line up some of those videos is that I was always skeptical about Greta Thunberg, because she was like the mainstream media darling, a bit like Malala, and some other figures. They were kind of, their voices were amplified beyond any reasonable, expectation, because they didn't deserve that kind of microphone. And therefore I was always like, oh, it's Greta Thunberg again. But I have to say, she has taken a principled position on Palestine, which is going to be to the detriment of her career. Because now the mainstream media are going to abandon her, they're going to laugh at her, they're going to sneer at her, she's not going to have that microphone, which proves that she's a principled person. I mean, look, she's a socialist lefty, so I'm not saying that I share her ideology, but she has proved that she is a genuine activist. She does what she believes in, whether the mainstream media give her a platform or not. So, I've got a lot of respect for this girl now.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just get a snippet of the sneering and insults that she is facing, because a lot of journalists have been going after her. Piers Morgan took to Twitter. This was, I think, just before she was kidnapped by Israel. He said, "Oh, shut up, Greta, you attention-seeking narcissist."
Piers Morgan calling somebody else a narcissist.
An attention-seeking narcissist, yeah, but it gets worse. What an insult to the actual hostages in Gaza who were really kidnapped. This stupid stunt is all about your ego and will make zero difference to the plight of innocent Palestinians caught up in this dreadful war. So what a mess. The actual insult here is Piers Morgan piping up when no one asked for his bloody opinion on this, and attacking Greta when the only attention-seeking narcissist I have ever seen is him. He talks as if this is, they're calling it the selfie ship, or something like that. They keep attacking them, saying, oh, it's all just a bunch of virtue signaling celebrity activists doing it for selfies, likes and clicks. I mean, who, let me ask you, brothers and sisters, you tell me, who do you think is more of an attention-seeking, pathetic, twisted little narcissist who does everything for clicks, likes and shares? Do you think it's Piers Morgan or Greta Thunberg? I think you'll find that most people, like myself, think that Piers Morgan is guilty of that. The fact is, he's been, platforming the Palestinian argument as well as the pro-Israel side, but what stance has he taken since day one? It's been, he sided with the Israelis, okay? Now, he simply sits there and attacks her. She could have been killed. She could have been shot at. Israel likes to kill journalists. It likes to kill activists. It likes to kill children. So the fact that she's young doesn't protect her at all. The only thing that maybe protects her a bit is because she is a European celebrity at the end of the day. And they tried to spin it with their propaganda videos. But she took a risk. And as you say, her career's going to get hit by this. Anyone who speaks up for Palestine, rich or poor, it comes with a cost, and the fact that she has bothered to do this, I think that other one, the Malala lady.
What has she done for Gaza?
She's done absolutely nothing because she
Diddly
knows
squat.
she doesn't want to lose her cushy position in the mainstream.
Yeah.
So she has done absolutely zero. Greta could have done this exactly the same thing, totally ignored Gaza, but she's actually thrown herself into it. And I'll tell you something, Mr. Piers Morgan. If she managed to get into Gaza, she'd be welcomed as a bloody hero.
Palestinians love her.
Palestinians absolutely love her. So I don't think she really cares about what...
Are we going to see any...
we've got another one here.
Are we going to see Fartley Growler, Gilly Fartley Growler
so
here?
Fartley Growler as well, unhinged, going on the offensive. She can't stand Greta and what she's doing.
She's an evil witch, isn't she? I'm sorry to say this, but that is my opinion. You know, sue me if you want to, but I just think she's an evil witch.
Yeah, well, I don't think you're the only one. Let's play out a clip of what she makes of it all.
Sweetheart, you're not in a war. You're just a propaganda tool. You're a useful idiot. I mean, you've been wrong about everything. You know, the green obsession, the socialism. But on this, wrong even more. You weren't taking aid to people who are starving in Gaza. A, they're not starving, they're getting aid. B, you didn't actually have any real aid on board, because I've got more flour and supplies in my kitchen cabinets than you had on that little yacht. This was about you getting some selfies, going on a nice little jaunt, getting your numbers up on social media, and performative virtue signaling that does absolutely nothing for the
Do we have to
people
watch any more of this?
Gaza.
Well, she claims it does absolutely nothing for the people of Gaza. Well, it's a lot more than what she's doing for, you know, I mean, she's apologizing for Israel. She's an apologist.
100% Israeli propagandist.
Yeah, 100% an Israeli propagandist. So, I don't know. I mean, she's expecting us to what? Take her side.
I mean,
At least
she
she
talks
tried.
about the aid. I mean, of course it was a publicity stunt because you can't get aid into Gaza. I mean, she says aid's going into Gaza. Hasn't she watched the news for the last week? Literally, people are getting shot trying to get a few bags of flour in Gaza.
She said there's aid going in. She said aid going in. It's all fake. It's all fake news.
The UN, everyone's saying that millions are on the verge of starvation. I take their words over her word, which is worth diddly squat. But
she comes
of
from...
course, look, the Freedom Flotilla, it is a publicity stunt. It's about putting, and it's a worthy publicity stunt because they can't do anything else. They can't actually get aid in, so they're going to put attention on the fact that there is a siege, an brutal economic medieval siege of Gaza.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the Fartley Growler comes from a long line of these mainstream journalists who are denying everything. They deny they're starving. Apparently the Gazans
Genocide
are eating
deniers.
wild.
That's what
Genocide deniers. Now, I'm sorry, but I would much rather back what Greta's doing, even if it's just a publicity thing. Even if she was doing it for selfish, self-serving purposes. She wasn't. No. But even if she was, I'd much rather throw my support behind that initiative than a genocide denialist like Fartley Growler and the others.
They
all deny
sneering
genocide.
evil people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, they're not journalists. They're just like... They're just propagandists for Israel.
They
a genocidal state. I mean, it makes me sick, actually.
It does make me sick. It does make me sick. But yeah, God bless Greta. I wish her all the best. And I think there are still some activists detained because they refused to sign release.
What it
forms
is because I know from previous people that have been on these flotillas is that Israel tries to get you to sign a form which saying that you illegally entered Israel, even though they took them from international waters. Now, some people choose not to sign that on principle. Others who just want to get out of there sign it and say, whatever, piece of paper, I'm getting out. I think Greta signed that. I'm not condemning her for signing it, but some people on principle will not sign it. Yeah. And those are the ones that are still being held captive.
There are Arabs as part of the crew, and I think there's definitely one Arab lady who's been detained. That's because she won't sign it, and I think because she's of Palestinian heritage. So that I can understand on principle. She would just find that repugnant to sign a paper saying that. Greta, of course, maybe doesn't have that, but I understand who would want to be in the detention of these monsters. Yeah. You know, these creeps, these people. I mean, they rape their prisoners, they hold hostages in inhumane conditions. They probably wouldn't do that to Greta, but to the Palestinian hostages, there's thousands of them.
If you've got a foreign passport,
I wouldn't trust it.
if you've got a foreign passport, they treat you better. if you're Palestinian, they treat you like a dog.
Yeah, they torture and rape and all sorts. But yeah, there you go. What did you make? That they were attacking her as well because she didn't watch that video, the October 7th video.
We all know why they're showing those October the 7th videos. It's because they obviously want to do their cheap propaganda, don't they? But we've all seen the October the 7th videos already, and we have different interpretations on what those images mean.
Yeah, I saw I watched it before, but I watched it again. The Al Jazeera did a deep dive investigation into the footage and the claims that Israel's been pumping out, and so much of it is just like
rubbish.
Yeah, like they've got some footage of what's gone on, so obviously it's upsetting footage to see people fighting, people dying. And then they go, oh yeah, systematic rape everywhere.
No rapes.
Babies beheaded
no
all over the
beheadings, no
place.
rapes.
And it's like, okay, I see the footage, very upsetting, people dying, but hang on a minute, I don't see systematic rape. I don't see any piles of beheaded dead baby heads on the floor like the Mongols. They made these great pyramids of skulls. I don't see any of that. So they sort of jump. They go, okay, here's some October 7th footage. Now, oh yeah, everyone got raped, everyone got burned alive. There were ovens with babies being chucked in and all sorts. They just kind of go away with it.
Just lies.
So yeah, like I don't want to see your propaganda bullshit. I'm sorry, just don't show it to me. I'd rather just go back and do more activism.
I mean, if you want to dissect what happened on October the 7th, I'm not going to do it here. But there's if you can do it in an environment, an academic environment, and you can talk about what happened, that's fine. But that wasn't what was happening. They were trying to force them to watch Israeli propaganda.
Yeah, to justify the genocide.
Israel's version of what happened.
This is why we're doing our genocide. Watch it and learn. Yeah. It's like, no, thank you. Like, piss off.
Why don't they show them images of Palestinian babies getting beheaded?
Yeah, man, that's the footage.
Any beheading that's going on is going on in Gaza at the moment.
Yeah, I've seen enough dead children, and they're all Palestinian. But anyway, let's move on. Very quickly, there is actually another effort to break the siege of Gaza.
We should just mention this because
the global march to the Rafah border with Gaza, that's obviously in Egypt. It's well underway. I think they've arrived to Egypt now.
No, they haven't. They're in Libya at the moment. So basically, it's the Maghreb countries like Algeria, Tunisia, and I should know the other one, Morocco. Yeah, so it's like a land caravan of activists from those countries, including MPs and whatever.
Nice.
And they're going through Libya, through Egypt to Rafah to break the siege of Gaza from Rafah, because obviously it's not just Israel that is blockading Gaza, it's the Egyptians. Now the big question is, will the Egyptians let them do it? Let's see what happens. I have a feeling the Egyptians are going to stop them, because the Egyptians are obviously, I'm talking about Egyptian authorities here, they're collaborators with Israel in the genocide of the Palestinian people. So my feeling is that they will get stopped in Egypt.
So yeah, the efforts to break the siege are intensifying, and there are more efforts ongoing. So this will be the next one to watch. There is, coming back to the UK now, there is the
Sir Sadiq Khan.
Yeah, London mayor has been knighted. Many refer to him as the Muslim mayor. He's been knighted, and it's caused quite a stir, I have to say. The far right are using it as an opportunity to just attack the so-called Muslim mayor and to attack Muslims in general. So they're having a field day. But I noticed you also were kind of ridiculing the situation as well.
It's disgusting. It's humiliating. I mean,
he has a mixed legacy, and he's not sort of well liked in many Muslim circles. He's done a lot of controversial things from a Muslim perspective as well. So what do you make of it, Roshan?
I think a Muslim only bows to Allah, not to King Charles or any other king on earth. And to me, I'm not saying he's worshipping him there, but he's bowing in front of the King of England. I think that's humiliating. I think it's cringeworthy, and I think it's embarrassing.
He's kneeling on a chair there. I think they actually have done that because that's meant to not be the same. Did you know that? There's like a weird thing.
Was it just him that was kneeling on the chair?
No, so anytime there's a Muslim subject of the king or queen that comes along to be meeting them or knighted or whatever, they always put this puff for them. So then technically they say we're not...
a puff? You sure you pronounced that right?
Yeah, cushion, puff. Cushion. I don't know.
They put a puff there to kneel on.
There's only one type of puff
Khan,
in Roshan's mind.
According to you, is kneeling on a puff. Okay.
Am I saying that right?
Is it puff? I think it's puff.
A puff? They put a puff down.
Well, if it's not pronounced puff, it should be pronounced puff. Because let's face it, kneeling on a puff has other connotations.
Out of context, yeah, it might sound a little bit wrong, but yeah, he's kneeling on a cushion there. I think that's supposed to be the alternative for Muslims that they provide, but I don't get it. I don't understand it. But yeah, I think you're right. He's basically
Sadiq Khan is kneeing a puff there. Sorry, I can't move on from this.
I better double check that is right, because that might just be one of Robert's weird words.
All right, so yeah, go on. I won't make any more wisecracks.
No, go on. You react to it, and I'll try and find out what.
No, I think we did. As soon as I saw that, I put a poll on our WhatsApp and Telegram groups, and I said, would you accept an honour from the King of England? And I think 85% on both WhatsApp and Telegram said no. You know, I just think the whole thing is cringeworthy. You know, accepting a what are you doing? Looking at the word puff? No, but that's like a cushion.
Poof. It's a poof.
How do you pronounce it?
Poof. P-O-U-F. Poof. So he's kneeing a poof.
Okay, a poof. Let's just call it a cushion.
I just call it a puff.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's
the poof has become more of a story than
it's
the knighting.
I just think that accepting, even if it's an OBE or an MBE, I think it's cringeworthy. First of all, I'm not a monarchist, okay, and I don't accept that I'm a subject of the king. We're citizens.
You're a sultanist.
Where I don't believe in the monarchy. And I don't think if you're a Muslim, you should believe in the monarchy, especially our monarchy, which has a history of being colonialists in the Muslim world, where our countries were raped and pillaged. That is the history of the British monarchy. And I don't think any Muslims should be playing into that. I think a lot of Muslims are just ignorant and, just being patted on the head by the establishment. I find that whole thing really, really cringeworthy. And especially our establishment, which has been so Islamophobic and so, kind of detrimental to our interests, whether it's at home or abroad. But yeah. I'm sure Sir Sadiq's parents are very proud of their little boy being knighted with a sword by King Charles.
Yeah, I bet they're proud of it. But
what did he say about it? Did he say anything?
Oh, he just said he's so grateful, immensely proud to receive a knighthood from His Majesty the King. Growing up on a council estate in Tooting, blah, blah, blah. I never imagined I'd one day receive this great honour, blah, 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 while being Mayor of Honour, blah, blah, blah. Basically, I just think, I must admit, I don't know, maybe I'm a right-winger on this issue, but I actually agree. I think he's a terrible mayor. I don't think he's done a good job. I don't think he's done a good job. Someone tweeted, some right winger, I always keep an eye on the right wing. I actually follow them, they follow me. Yeah. So I've got a right wing sort of circle on Twitter. They basically said he don't deserve it. I think they're right.
No, leaving aside all the Muslimness and whatever, he's just been a rubbish mayor, hasn't he? I mean, knife crime, ULEZ. Every time you drive into London now, you get slapped with congestion charge. And I don't know what he's done. What has he actually done? Has he built any more houses? Obviously, this whole city is unlivable now and unaffordable.
It's just horrible.
Has he done anything for London?
Yeah, no, I think he's...
What's he done? Devil's advocate, what's he done for London? Can you name one thing?
I'm trying to be kind.
He's done LGBT parades. And
he praised
Eid in the Park. He's done Eid in the Park, Eid in the Square.
Oh yeah, and the lights, the Christmas Eve
it's just
lights,
all like superficial stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So being kind, he's done some twinkly lights, and that's it.
and maybe he's promoted LGBT and trans rights in a massive way.
And he loves Hinduism because he was pitching next to their god.
Yeah.
Giving it the reef.
Yeah.
So yeah, what can I say? There you go. There's your Mayor of London for you.
Yeah. Should we move on from? Are you going to be calling him Sir Sadiq from now on?
No. I just call him the gay Mayor of London.
I'm just going to call him Khan. Yeah.
He's the gay mayor. But yeah, what can I say? And gay could mean happy, by the way.
Yeah, the happy man.
Poofs are cushions, and gay are happy. What other words are we going to bring up today? Well, let's talk about something serious now. So this is a serious story. Basically, the legal application to deprescribe the Palestinian armed group Hamas from the terrorism list in the UK has been submitted by Cage International. This is following another effort to deprescribe the group by Riverway lawyers. Something we've also covered here at Five Pillars. Now, this is interesting development because it's now piling up. There are more requests coming in to deprescribe this group. Cage's argument is that it's purely on freedom of speech grounds, because too many people in this country who want to talk about the situation in Gaza, want to talk about the Palestinian suffering and Palestinians' rights to live and to fight for their rights.
And to resist. Yeah.
And to resist. They're being penalised by the state based on lawfare, basically. Yeah. That's what they're saying. There's a lawfare going on. And these are British citizens. They have a right to speak, okay? They should have the right to speak about whatever they want within grounds, you know. So this is the argument that's being put here. Roshan, do you want to comment on this? Because obviously,
I don't want to say too much about it because obviously we're censored on this issue, and you know, Britain is supposed to be the country of free speech, but it isn't. Not on this issue, and you can't speak freely. The Israelis can say all sorts of horrible stuff against the Palestinians. They can incite daily against the Palestinians, call them all terrorists, you know, incite to violence against Palestinian people. Yeah. Whereas pro-Palestinians can't say anything about Palestinians' right to resist, etc., against the Israeli genocidal state, without being in danger of lawfare, as you say, or having the busies coming around to your house and warning you, or slapping some cuffs on you. So my position has always been that, the law in this country is that you can't glorify Hamas, that you can't support Hamas. But by simply saying we don't think they should be on the terror list, that is not support or glorifying. That's just a factual statement. And my personal opinion always has been, if the IDF is not on the terror list, then Hamas shouldn't be on there either. You know, quite frankly, the IDF, even if we assume that Hamas have done the worst crimes and everything the Israelis say is true, then the IDF's crimes overshadow Hamas's crimes by like thousands, by multiples of thousands. Yeah. So that's an inconsistency here, but it has had a chilling effect on free speech and self-censorship amongst lots of pro-Palestinian activists who frankly don't even support Hamas, but simply by by saying that Palestinians have the right to resist and armed resist, which is enshrined in international law, they find themselves possibly on the wrong side of the law and subject to lawfare and arrests and harassment. And we see this overreach happening all across society, on social media posts, in the public sector, the private sector, etc., etc. And it's had a real chilling effect on free speech. All I can say is that we are very careful to remain on the right side of the law. We're not encouraging anyone to break the law, even if we think the law is unfair. But what I would say is that, Muslims and Muslim activists, you are not alone. If you're subject, you're not alone. We will support you. We have millions of supporters all around the world who are pro-Palestine and who are, quite frankly, wealthy. And we have far more supporters than Zionists have. So if Zionists come at you with a unjust lawsuit, don't break the law, but if you haven't broke the law and they're still coming at you with lawsuits just to silence you, then don't be silenced and don't be afraid, because we will support you financially. The Muslim community, not just in the UK, but around the world, have vast resources, and we will fight cases, and we will not be silenced by Zionist lawfare.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to monitor this story and see how it develops. And yeah, pressure is building on all fronts. Israel can't be allowed to get away with this crime against humanity, and all of its lawfare, all of its lies, all of its weaponization of things like anti-Semitism. It's all being exposed now, okay? They're exposing themselves. And it's one of the challenges of this life. We have to put up with the genocide, but Israel's also under pressure as well. And we hope that Zionism will come to an end, this political ideology behind the genocide. Well, there is hope. There is hope and good news. Muslims are now 1/4 of humanity, says headline from Five Pillars, published this morning. Islam is growing incredibly fast and is well on track to becoming the largest religion on the whole planet.
It already is.
It already is. Yeah. It already is. So Islam is now the fastest growing religion on the planet.
Even though Christians are still marginally the majority, according to the Pew Research Center, very well-respected American think tank, and pollsters, I think, as well. There are 28% of the world's population is Christian, and 25% is Muslim. So in the next 40 to 50 years, Muslims will outnumber Christians because we have more babies. But I would say that even now, Islam is the largest religion on earth, simply because Muslims practice their religion. Whereas millions and millions of Muslims, or of Christians rather, don't practice their religion. They're just nominally Christian.
Cultural Christians or whatever. That's a very good point. And it just is part of this trend of Islam rising everywhere you go. You know, I go all over the place for 5 Pillars. I show up in places across Europe and in other parts of the world. Went to the States not that long ago for the election. And you find Muslims everywhere. They're springing up converts as well. Converts to Islam spring up all over the place. It's a thriving community. It's a religion that's alive and spreading rapidly. And I've seen a few attempts made by some Christian haters out there to try and suggest that actually Islam is on the decline.
It's rubbish.
There's this claim that it's in decline in Iran, I think. There's a claim that's in decline in Albania or something like that, or whatever. They come up with these weird little arguments. But actually, when you do a little bit of digging, it turns out actually it's not true, or they have very flawed arguments that they're using, or they're manipulating statistics to make it seem like what
they're
it
even
isn't.
doing AI videos now. Have you noticed that? Of Muslims converting to Christianity. They're so desperate. Did you see Dilly's tweet today? You probably haven't seen it.
I'm going to check it out. I
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
so basically they're coming up with these social media. They're so desperate that they can't find real conversions of Muslims to Christianity, that they're doing AI videos of Muslims being baptized in rivers, etc. And it's all fake. It's all completely fake.
Gosh, that is pathetic. Well, I have to say that Islam is a force for good on the world stage. It's fantastic that it's spreading. It's good. It might morally save mankind. You know, like you see here in the UK. UK foreign policy is immoral. It's deplorable. We have a lot of social ills as well. Islam is the cure for all that. If this was a Muslim majority country, I don't think it'd be backing the genocide. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It would give up on its imperialist colonialist past. It wouldn't have invaded and occupied and destroyed Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya. You know, it'd be a moral, upright country on the world stage, you know? And I literally credit Islam for that. So, yeah, more Islam for everyone. That's what I say.
Alhamdulillah, I mean, all I can say, further point to make about this, is that Allah works in mysterious ways. And Allah has also basically ensured that atheism will always be a minority pursuit in this planet. And he's done that by ensuring that atheists don't have loads of kids. And after having read this report, it's apparent now that the atheists that do exist in the world, mainly they exist in the West, they certainly don't exist in Asia and Africa. You know, a few weirdos are atheists there, but in the West, atheism is a thing, but it's still a minority pursuit. And alhamdulillah, because these atheists are so selfish, they only think about themselves, and they're having little or no children whatsoever, so they won't be able to pass their warped ideology onto future generations because they're selfish and only think about themselves.
Yeah.
And the number of atheists is declining in the world, even in the West. And alhamdulillah, Allah has ensured that the believers will be many and the disbelievers will be few. Obviously, as believers, you know, we are flawed, and there are believers in God that, you know, can be very erroneous in their beliefs, but they still believe in a higher power of some sort. Whereas those who are so arrogant, the rejectors, the kuffar basically, who reject even the existence of God, alhamdulillah, they are few.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Well, what can I say? This is for all of you out there, you right-wing trolls on 5 Pillars. But tell us, brothers and sisters, what you think. What I'd like to tell everyone is if you know any good stories, like convert stories, I do like to meet converts and potentially even platform them if they want to be interviewed. So just let us know. There's converts all over the place, and there's a lot of dawah initiatives all over the country as well. I think dawah is really, really important. I know a lot of emphasis goes on to what politics is all about and what activists are doing on the streets and all these types of things. But I think just a humble dawah stall in every town, every village, every city, trying to get a Quran in everyone's home, trying to introduce everyone to Islam, that's really important. There are millions of people in this country who are ripe for plucking and bringing into the fold of Islam. It will enrich their lives. It will make them better people, as it has done for me and many others. And like I say, it's going to help this country to fix its many issues. This is a sick country with a sick society, and its foreign policy is detestable, and it's led by the corrupt. Islam can fix all of that. Islam can fix all of that. So we have to keep pushing it and keep pumping Islam out there. We have to invest in dawah more so. And I think those who are in the dawah already, just keep doing what you're doing, but try to take it up a level, try to take it up a notch, maybe do more media outreach dawah as well. Give us something to film. I know there's a lot of good stuff that goes on sort of behind the scenes that you don't know about. That's important. But let's really pump it out now. Pump it out. Pump the Quran.
Yeah, I think even if you're not directly involved in the dawah in a professional sense, you can still volunteer on a stall on the weekend or something like that. Give some time, you know, for that outreach, and maybe get trained first a little bit.
We've got numbers.
I know IERA do training courses. I think maybe Sapiens as well. They're free training courses you can do, so that you're not bumbling your way through the dawah. And maybe do that first and do some outreach. You know.
Yeah, and that's how we tackle Islamophobia, and that's how we. You know, because ignorance, that's what these right-wingers are feeding off of, is ignorance. Their supporters are the ignorant. And if we can just speak to people, it's very powerful.
I think, you know, on Twitter especially, I think a lot of these, a lot of this is being actually not promoted by real people. It's being promoted by Indian bots, basically, you know, and maybe Israeli bots as well, right-wing bots. They're not real people. And they're pushing this agenda constantly, and that they have a game plan here, and they don't listen to arguments and whatever. They just push out their poison, but they're not actual real people. But unfortunately, they are influencing real people.
Can I talk about something before we end the show?
Sure.
We've basically only got one topic left. There's a very bizarre trend happening right now of ginger phobia. There's attacks on gingers, and it's coming from the far right. It's coming from the far right. There's this thing in their mind where they believe that gingers are converting to Islam.
Ginger jihadis.
Ginger jihadis, basically. Now, let me just respond to this, okay? Because some people accuse me of being ginger, by the way. I don't know if you've ever known that.
No, you're not. I would say it's light brown or dark brown hair.
Yeah, or it's actually
light brown. Yeah.
Originally, I was blonde when I was young. I was like really, really blonde, and it's like browned over time. So I'm not ginger, but I wouldn't mind being. I'm not gingerphobic.
I'd mind being ginger.
Basically, what I want to say to everyone watching, there's this really weird, obsessive attacks happening on people who are ginger. They call them weirdos. They call them ugly. They call them ginger when they embrace Islam. But the fact is that Islam is for everyone.
Islam is for gingers.
Islam is for gingers, okay?
Yeah.
Let me be clear about this.
Where did this come from?
You're
doing dawah to gingers now.
To be honest with you, I'm responding because this has come from somewhere. Right. They are literally really mean and horrible to people because they have ginger beards or ginger hair.
That's racism, isn't it?
It's I don't know if you want to call them a race, but they're a little bit whiter than the rest of us whites.
Gingerphobia, isn't it?
It's gingerphobia, and I have ginger people in my family. No issue with it whatsoever. Let me just say this: Islam is for everyone. Okay, this is why you need to put the right wing behind you. Any of you gingers out there who are still attacking Islam, you have to put it behind you and embrace Islam, because these are people who don't respect you. They hate you and they attack you all the time. And the second you do embrace Islam, they start slandering you with all of those horrible names that they give to ginger people. Let me just say this: Islam loves you, Muslims love you, you will be well respected, well cared for, and all of the ginger people out there who have embraced Islam are well respected and beloved. I love you for the sake of Allah. Come and speak to me anytime you want. And to all of you ginger converts out there, we love and respect you, okay? We love you. Islam is for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're black, brown, green, ginger, alien, human, whatever. You are welcome. You are welcome. And I say that these attacks by the far right on ginger converts is disgusting, and I deplore it, absolutely. Roshan, what do you want to say about this?
I just undermined everything you said by
Yeah, you're very rude and disgraceful.
I mean, you're going to get a lot of ginger fans now, aren't you? You're going to get a little ginger groupies.
Absolutely love them. I think that it's a beautiful hair colour. I think that they are beautiful people. There's nothing wrong with being ginger. There's nothing wrong with being ginger at all. I know you're laughing, you disgraceful human being, but honestly, jokes aside, it is a real problem. It's a real problem. I want to address this. I honestly want to address this. It's happening too much. There are good people out there being attacked because of the way they look. Do you know what I mean? So I'm sorry, but I'm going to address this. Ignore Roshan.
So
He's very
next
childish.
week, what are you going to do? You're going to give dawah to like one-armed dwarves or something like that. The one-armed dwarf community. We love you.
Jokes aside, this is honestly a really serious point. There was another brother, Tommy Robinson, actually had a right go at him. He's autistic, okay?
Yeah.
He was an autistic brother.
Yeah.
He embraced Islam, and Tommy Robinson thought, okay, because he's autistic, he was a bit overweight, bless him, and he was a Muslim, and he loved Islam. He had his own little like Quran and stuff.
Robert,
I'm sorry, but Tommy Robinson was attacking him.
Let's move on because I'm actually behaving really badly here. And I think I'm going to get lots of hate from our own people in the comments.
Gingers.
And I'm sure they're going to agree with you. So let's move on.
This will be a heavily edited.
Whatever I say cannot be.
This will be.
I'll be just digging my grave. You know.
This will be a heavily.
Deeper.
This will be a heavily edited episode. I have a feeling. But anyway, I tried, brothers and sisters. I tried. But what can I say? All right, let's end on the Hajj. Is there anything you want to joke and laugh about Hajj?
No.
You want to pick a joke about Hajj?
No, it's just that obviously the Hajj is finished. Alhamdulillah, people have done their, all their rituals, and they're probably moving on. They've done their farewell tawaf, and they're probably moving on to Medina, a lot of them, to spend some peaceful days in that beautiful city, in Masjid al-Nabawi. Alhamdulillah, all I can say is that may the Hajj of the millions that did it this year, may it be accepted. May Allah forgive their sins. May Allah, start their lives anew. And that's it, really. I just didn't want to not mention Hajj before the end of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we had a show maybe a couple of days earlier, obviously it would have been a major theme. We're a little bit late to it now, but obviously, yeah, beautiful.
I think the Saudis also are. I mean, I've been very critical of the Saudis, how they manage the Hajj. In recent years, there have been needless deaths, but I think they're getting to grips with maybe managing the numbers a little bit, better and making it a bit safer and a better experience for the pilgrims as well.
Yeah.
So I don't praise the Saudis very much, but maybe they have done a reasonable job this year.
There was a lot of support in the comment section last week about sending me on Hajj next year.
Yeah, no, we should, inshallah. Yeah, we need to make that. Hopefully that you'll get your visa after all the everything you said about the leadership. But
I think so.
But we won't. But I tell you what.
Let's see.
We're not going to sell out for the sake of getting a Hajj visa. We're going to tell brothers and sisters. We're going to keep telling the truth about Saudi Arabia and the Westernization agenda, and how the leadership of Saudi Arabia is basically ruining that nation, which ultimately is the home of the Haramain al-Sharifain. We're not going to sell out just to get a Hajj visa.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Just ruined your Hajj, Robert.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I was looking forward to that. My bags were packed. But yeah, what can I say? Yeah, let's see how that goes. But is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
No, just one more thing before we say goodbye is that, alhamdulillah, I've noticed that more people are watching the show. I think we have a unique show here. I think it's appreciated. We have a loyal fan base. And I think over the last couple of months, we've seen the numbers go up regularly, on YouTube. But I think there should be still more. I think this program, everyone that watches it, of our peers and colleagues, they really appreciate it. But I think more people should be watching it. So, brothers and sisters, if you like what we're doing, share this show. Share the link with your family and friends. Maybe if you can set up a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group, and you can have a broadcast list of maybe 20 people, like-minded people of your family and friends. And every time we do the show, you can spam it out to those people, and then they can spell it out to 20 more people, and that's how the word of mouth grows. And we went from getting maybe 5,000 people watching on YouTube at the beginning to 10,000 people, and now 15 to 20,000 people. Let's get it regularly at 30,000 people watching this show on a regular basis as a minimum. And some shows, let's get it over 100,000 and 200,000. That's my ambition for this show. So. But we need your help, brothers and sisters, to do it.
Yeah, inshallah. And do let us know what you think, how we can improve the show as well. I'm open to those suggestions. I think eventually we'll get to a point where we sort of take it up a gear, I think, and maybe do some improvements as well, inshallah. So yeah, just let us know what you think in the comment section below. Yeah, I think that's it.
And
We've
if
covered
you've
a lot
been
of ground here.
offended by anything that I've said, it's always me. No one's offended by you. If anybody
You've
is
been on fine
offended
form this
by anything that I've
I'm
said or
offended.
done, brothers and sisters, please forgive me. I'm an imperfect Muslim.
Very imperfect.
Very imperfect. I'm not a role model. I'm just an ordinary Muslim, very imperfect, doing my best, trying to get the word out there about Islam through the vehicle of journalism. And if I've made any mistakes, kind of string me up on it. No problem. I'll take the feedback on the chin. And sometimes I'll give it back to you. But it's all fun and games, brothers and sisters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. I think we've covered a lot in this episode, and inshallah we will be back next week. I'm going to Vienna for a story, so keep your eyes on that. It'll be a good one. But I should be back in time for next week's show, inshallah. So do catch us then. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. And ma salama for now.
Ma salama. Assalamu alaikum.